before he resigned. At that time, he had not contemplated resigning. So I don't think it would have caused any defect in his work. As anybody who has been close to him knows, he's extremely hardworking, and he can sit from morning to morning if there's work to be done.
We have details as he expresses disappointment in the resignation of Osei Mensah as majority leader.
I'm disappointed that the Che decided to stand down. He has been a fantastic leader, an extremely hardworking person, and I would have wished that he stayed on till the end.
And tonight we are live in Parliament on the day the former majority leader, Osei Mensah, went to the chamber but did not sit in the chair designated for the majority leader. First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Osei, says Osei Mensah did not have to resign as majority leader, so he can serve as chairman of the MPP's Manifesto Committee. Now, this has been offered as part of the reasons why the Swami legislator had to step aside. But earlier, some minority MPs had argued that the former majority leader had been pushed out.
I get the sense that he was forced out. I got this information about a week ago that there was going to be some changes in the leadership, and I actually spoke with Honorable Afenyo Markins. You know, myself and he is my very good friend. I asked him, is it true that you'll be made the majority leader? And he said he's unaware of any of such moves, and that several people have called to tell him that, but he's unaware, and there wasn't any official communication to that effect. I spoke with my kid brother, Honorable Habib, who is also the second deputy, whip, and as to whether indeed he's aware of something, he said he's unaware. Just yesterday, the day before, I was on CTTV with one young guy, one of the NPP parliamentary candidates, Asaf Waje, and this is who came up. He said there was nothing to that effect. And I said, look, the fact that the first deputy speaker of parliament himself considered it important to address the press on that matter, it could not be a rumor. And clearly you can tell that it has to do with forcing the man out.
You know, they say that one of the important rules in any game is knowing when to walk away. And I think that time and experience, to a very large extent, have tamed Osei Mensah.
Well, we are hearing tonight from more of the majority members too. NPP MP for Da and the Deputy Minister Designate for Health, Akwesi Akwa, says contrary to claims, there is calm on the minority front.
Given a very important role, drafting the manifesto of Dr. Bawumia, it's a very tedious work. And so it was going to be a bit difficult to combine the two. I mean, leading the majority and doing that. And so some of us are at peace that he voluntarily decided to give up the position so he can concentrate on this new one.
But some believe that he was forced out.
Well, I was in the meeting. He said it was voluntarily, because there was some form of consensus. There was a crunch meeting, and he agreed that he was going to take up the position of the chairman of the Manifesto Committee, which is another serious schedule. And so, I mean, it's a fallacy. We don't have to place premium on the fact that he was forced out.
Are you not worried about the aftermath, the undertones? I mean, already people are reading meanings with respect to the regional caucuses and all of that one has more than the other. Are you not worried about the aftermath?
Yes, initially, these were the thinking of a lot of guys. But when we went into the meeting and he understood the fact that he was playing this critical role, I think that everybody's at peace.
And that there is MPP MP for Oda and Deputy Minister Designate for Health, Akwesi Aqua, talking there about what is happening within the majority tonight. A day after we learned that Osechi Mensah has resigned as majority leader. Kweku Asante is our parliamentary correspondent and joins us on the line right now. Kweku, we've just been listening there to Mr. Aqua laying out what happened in this meeting where Osechi Mensah tendered in his resignation. His argument is he did so he can take up this chairmanship role as part of the Manifesto Committee. The first Deputy Speaker of Parliament is having none of that.
Yes, the Deputy Speaker is responding directly to these claims, which have not only been made by Honorable Akwesi Aqua, but several elements within the New Patriotic Party. According to the Deputy Speaker, that could not be the reason, because long before there had been rumors about Osechi Mensah being removed as majority leader, it had been floated that he will be appointed as Manifesto Committee Chair, and none of the requirements of that appointment came with resigning or being removed as majority leader. And besides, he believed that Osechi Mensah could do both, and that he is disappointed that the man has resigned.
Disappointed that the Che decided to stand down. It's big. He has been a fantastic leader, an extremely hard-working person, and I would have wished that he stayed on till the end.
So did it come to you as a surprise?
Yes, it did. But as to what got to him, I'm sure we better let him explain.
What will happen moving forward? Today he was in the chamber, initially he didn't sit on his chair. It means the changes have taken effect.
Well, once he stood down, it means he's no longer the majority leader. But as to whether any change has happened or not, I don't have any information. I'm not aware that any person has been either nominated or discussed or chosen by their side.
There's a name out there, and that's Alexander Kwame Afeni-Markin, the first name that got us into this story in the first place. That name is still there. How's it come up?
Well, I saw that name before the weekend came, but at that time, Che was still the majority leader, so we'll wait and see.
Is that fair that a name is out there already when indeed you had a leader?
You make your judgment. I keep mine to myself. I'm sure moving forward, the caucus will discuss all the ramifications of the effects of our leader resigning and the process of selecting or electing a new one. We will discuss all that, and if there are any implications that would have negative impact on our caucus, we may decide, we may plan a route that will keep us together.
If you are called upon to be the new leader, will you agree to step down from being first deputy speaker to be the leader, since you are about the most experienced MP from the Ashanti caucus and among those who can likely lead the caucus?
First, the reference to Ashanti caucus is inappropriate. This is the majority caucus. Second, I'm not sure I'm the most experienced one, but I'm happy working as a deputy speaker, and I have no desire to move to the majority leadership position. Work versus, but the manifesto committee's suggestion was made to him before he resigned. At that time, he had not contemplated resigning, so I don't think it would have caused any defect in his work. As anybody who has been close to him knows, he's extremely hardworking, and he can sit from morning to morning if there's work to be done.
And Kweku, we know that the party indeed has had it their way in this particular matter, despite the fact that Joso Wusu had said categorically that the party should not have a say in the selection of their leader. The speaker yesterday delivered his ruling on this. And from what I gather, Joso Wusu still wants to have his say on this. So very adamant the speaker is wrong.
Yes, in fact, there are those who believe that it is that speaker's ruling that really forced the hand of Osechi Mensah to resign. Because if he believed that it was up to the caucus to make a decision, he did not believe that the entirety of the caucus should remove him. According to the first deputy speaker, it is this so-called ruling of the speaker that is causing all this confusion in his words. He also says that what the Speaker did was not interpreting the standing orders. It was just the Speaker merely passing his opinions.
Now there's confusion being thrown into the interpretation of our standing orders, which we are so proudly touting that we have done, by the Speaker himself. So we will have to look at the interpretation. Yesterday I spoke that I had an alternative interpretation. I understand the Honorable Atacha also spoke that he had a different and alternative interpretation. So we will look at the interpretation as contained in. But certainly I can't see how you can interpret standing orders of Parliament to bring in a party which is not a member of Parliament. That interpretation, I can't see where the basis of that, and for me, that is a confusion that has been thrown into the interpretation of the new standing orders by Mr. Speaker himself.
I've spoken to a former Speaker of this House who wondered why the Speaker had to interpret this in the first place, because there was no ambiguity. Do you have the same sense?
I'm not sure you can call this an interpretation, because an interpretation comes about when there's disagreement as to the meaning of a particular clause or order. There was no such thing. I thought the Honourable Member for Tamale North was making a comment in jest. So the Speaker's opinion should not and could not be called an interpretation. He is only offering an opinion, and that's why if it was an interpretation, I wouldn't have had the courage or even the opportunity to offer an alternative one. But as to opinions, his opinion is different from mine. As to the meaning of that, it's different from that of the Honourable Atacha.
And Kweku, was Chairman Zabungsu himself in the House today, and where did he sit?
Well, 2 hours into the sitting today, just around midday, Chairman Mensah actually walked in. And normally, when he walks in from the Speaker's lobby area, he goes straight to the only black chair in the majority caucus pews in Parliament. That is where he normally sits. Today, he did not sit there. He actually went to sit on the seat of Katie Hammond, sitting back behind the seat that is originally designated for the majority leader. It is similar to the scenes we saw when Haruna Idris was removed as minority leader. He was also offered another seat. It is not clear yet if the leadership in Parliament has offered Osei Mensah, who has since resigned, that seat as his new seat in Parliament. But he did sit there for a while. Obiamwa and other MPs came to talk to him. Later on, I saw Habib Idris, the deputy majority whip, they come to the majority leader to take the black seat, because as far as some of them were concerned, even though he has resigned, the party has not officially communicated to Parliament. So they thought he could still sit in the black chair. He refused. But some way, somehow, about 15 minutes into sitting in that chair, he was actually working. His assistants were bringing him documents. He was signing them. He was editing them. He actually then stood up and went to the black chair where he normally sits as majority leader. He was there for a minute or two, and then he just got up, went to the deputy speaker who he just heard, spoke to him for a while, and then he went out. That was when I accosted him. I went to ask him why he had taken that seat, what comment he had to make about claims he's being removed and all that. And he wouldn't say much except to tell me that he should to be officially on the record tomorrow. I walked him to his car. We can listen.
Majority Leader, please, why didn't you take your seat? Leader, why didn't you take your seat? You took another seat today. Leader, can you confirm officially that you told the president that you had resigned? Leader, can you tell Joy News something, that you were resigned officially? What is in the works now?
I'll speak to you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Leader.
I'll speak to you tomorrow. We'll look forward to that, Kweku. But I'm also curious about the incoming majority leader. Was he also there?
He was not in the House today. In fact, when session started, his assistant brought a pile of documents to put where he normally sits, what they normally do, the assistant. They brought a pile of documents as though he was coming. In fact, the assistant was so fit to know where the assistants of the leaders normally sit. He was sitting there. We expected that he would come in. Up until the time the House adjourned, the incoming majority leader, Alexander Femi Martin, did not come to the House today.
Thank you very much, Kweku. They're working his sources in Parliament. You should watch that video of him chasing down Chairman Sabonsu for a comment on what has happened since yesterday. At least he got something from him. He says he will talk tomorrow. I want to bring in Dr. Richard Amakoba now. He's a former head of the Political Science Department at the KNUST. He's a political analyst himself. Himself an insider when it comes to the MPP. He joins us on the line right now. Dr. Amakoba, so there you have it. Sir Chairman Sabonsu is no longer the majority leader. The many who are disappointed with this particular move, we'll get to hear his thoughts shortly because I lost him briefly. But as you know, dreaming of the perfect sofa to upgrade this Valentine, your dream sofa is now a reality at latest form. Introducing our sensational V sofa range where comfort meets style at prices they will make your heart skip a beat. Hop into the latest foam showroom nationwide to dive into a world of colors and choices, from the sleek L-shaped V sofa at just $3,100 to the complete V sofa set for an unbeatable $6,500. We have the opportunity to elevate your space with latest foam, your forever partner in comfort and luxury. Hurry, your perfect sofa awaits. Latest foam, your partner for life. And indeed, we've been talking also today about Osechi Mensah legacy now that he's left the scene as a majority leader. Listen to the executive director of the Africa Parliamentary Network, Dr. Rashid Ramani, isolating what he believes to be Osechi Mensah's greatest legacy.
We need to unpack it, but I think he has deepened our democracy. He is, first of all, somebody who understands our parliament and the parliamentary procedure more than almost any other person in the House currently. He is someone who is fiercely independent-minded, just like the first Deputy Speaker. And so for me, I think that the fierce independence of mind is one of, his key legacies in terms of, what he has contributed to the deepening of our democracy.
Dr. Richard Amakoba joins me right now. And Doc, Osechi Mensah out, Alexander Fenyo marking in, your reaction?
Well, that is appropriate. That was his deputy, so he's gone, then he should take over. That the whole thing is not good. Because after a person serves for this long, it should not end this way. It should most likely end with a fanfare and a good, healthy goodbye. Because for nothing at all, he's the longest serving. I think he's one of them. How does he resign like that, abruptly like that? It is not appropriate. And that tells you there's something going on that we don't know about. It can, under normal circumstances, it will not happen this way. He had announced that he's not running again. So going away was just a natural thing for the other person to take over. But the way he was forced to resign, it looks like before he was ready, it's not appropriate. That tells you, I can't think of any other way that this can happen, except the incoming people were eager to throw him out, or he has some disagreement with some powers that be. And I tend to think it is the second option.
But is there any gain, though, for the party to remove him, considering his experience, considering that they need him, his caliber and experience now more than ever before, considering where they are attempting to break the 8? What do you read into this? What could be the real reason? And you know your party. Is it thinking around you need a stronger, fresher blood in there in an election year that is going to be bitterly fought to carry that, do the heavy lifting?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It looks like there was some friction between some big guys, and he was forced out. Who else can force him out but the president? I can't think of anybody else. And so that's what I'm looking at, you see. But it's not good. We don't treat people like that after they serve this long. For nothing they say thank you, or have a handshake or whatever, for his colleagues to say a proper goodbye to him for the service he has rendered to the nation. That's how it should be. But the way it is not good at all. It tells you There's more to the news than what we know.
Indeed. Let me bring in Miracles Abwaji, who is he speaks for the Dr. Baumia campaign team. He is the communications director with that particular team. Joins us now. Mr. Abwaji, thanks for your time here on Top Story.
Thanks, Evans, for having me.
And I'm curious, yesterday we received your statement confirming Osechi Mensah as the chair of the Manifesto Committee. And it happened just around the same time that the news broke that he had resigned. Was this coordinated, that once he confirmed his resignation, then you could go ahead and confirm?
No, not at all. I mean, there are members of the Manifesto Committee, as was issued, who are equally holding other positions in government and in parliament. And so I don't think that is the case. I mean, the vice chairman of the committee is Honorable Kojo Ponkroma, who is a cabinet minister for Works and Housing, and is a member of parliament as well, and serves on so many other committees in parliament. So the happenings in parliament have no direct connection with the composition of the Manifesto Committee at all, because you could still hold whichever position you have in the executive or legislative and still play your role and support in the drafting of the manifesto.
And so you're confirming that his assuming the role of chairman had nothing to do with the resignation that happened, because some have already linked it. That's why he was moved on.
Well, from the flag bearer's perspective, he believes that Honorable Evans Mensah has very deep knowledge and understanding of various sectors of our economy due to his long-standing years of service in Parliament and leadership in Parliament. He's seen several bills enacted into acts. He's seen several agreements. He's seen several issues across sectors pass through Parliament. And so if you are looking for that one person that will lead and have a bird's eye view of every single sector in the drafting of the manifesto, then I don't think there's any dispute about the quality of the contribution that Honorable Evans Mensah brings to bear when it comes to the drafting of this 2024 manifesto. And that is purely the basis on which the flag bearer selected him to play that role and nothing else.
And you talk about the flag bearer selecting him, and he's not the flag bearer. He's the leader of the party. He's obviously the candidate for MPP. What role has he played at all since this controversy erupted on the majority front? We saw the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament going public and all the tensions that erupted and the meeting that was held yesterday. Has he played any significant role in trying to resolve this and bringing this to finality now with James Mensah's resignation?
I'm wondering what is hanging Evans that requires finality, because as it stands now, I wonder where the tension is, if there is any. I listened to the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Jose Wusu, and his position earlier was very simple. He was interpreting the standing orders of Parliament on how leadership of the various caucus in Parliament can be selected, and his position was that as at that time, the caucus had not taken any decision to have any change in leadership. That I cannot believe that can be described as tension, because he was quite categorical that he heard rumors, and it wasn't emphatic that it was a matter of fact. But from his perspective, these are rumors that they are also preempting and indicating that they have not taken any such decision, or dispelling the rumor that they've taken any such decision. I don't think that amounts to tension, and I don't think there is anything right now hanging to be resolved.
Now, of course, but in the House, as we know, there are people who are very loyal to James Mensah, who see this as, he says he's disappointed. Joseph Wusu publicly today, he says he's disappointed that this has happened, and then he dismisses this link that has been established between taking the chairmanship role and continuing in this particular position. going forward, though, for those who may still hold allegiance to him and may be unhappy and disappointed, is there a plan to close ranks around this?
Well, I mean, we're in the political space, we're in the governance space, and you should expect that at all times, whatever decisions or whatever positions are taken, we would have members of the group who may not necessarily agree with these positions. And I don't also believe that if somebody expresses displeasure about a decision, it means that the person is necessarily expressing his decision to not cooperate in the execution of the mandate of the group. I don't think there's anybody in the majority caucus that at this point has said or even intends to not cooperate in the caucus's execution of their mandate in the House of Parliament. I think what is most important is that we disagree, we agree based on what we believe in, and at all times we express these things, but ultimately when there is work to be done, we all come together and get a job done. And for us as a party, for us as a campaign, what is important is that the job gets done when it is done. And so far, I doubt and I do not believe that there is any single person in the majority caucus that is not ready to execute their mandate as it should. And that is enough for us as we go forward.
Thank you very much. And that there is Dennis Miracle Abuaji, member Dr. Baumia's communications team. Earlier you heard Dr. Richard Amakoban, who is the former head of the political science department at the KNUST and a political analyst himself. I want to take you now to Swame. That's Osechi Mensah Bungsu's own constituency. My colleagues at Love FM have been there talking to constituents about his decision to resign.
He has been a minority leader and a majority leader for 7 years. Anything that will make MPP party break the 8, not about any individual. So I think what he has done is the interest of the party.
In Ghana, everybody knows that Honorable Osechi Mensah has served well as a member of parliament, as a majority leader. The efforts that he had made at the parliament is good for him to resignate from the parliament house.
He has resigned to save himself from disgrace. Some time ago, he was almost beaten at Swami Magazine. He couldn't perform as MP and a majority leader. I think our MP wants to concentrate on his new role in Baumia's campaign. It is good. He's sacrificing for the party.
Kayade with my twaso edin kunuma kwa ka ebia ono an resign nti me de wa resign de me ne ya adwen because o say system ti me ma adwen chire.
Well, do you live in the constituency too? Send me a WhatsApp 05511119997. News 90 in a minute.
Breaking news. Vodafone Ghana is becoming Telecel. Stay tuned.
Great news is here. Batmat is here again. XXL clearance sale. Guaranteed savings. From now till the end of April, the big sale continues. Get discounts of up to 70% off sanitary wares, light tiles, waterproofing, and all other product families. It's the year to get things done. Visit our showroom at the North Industrial Area next to the Winners Chapel, Ghana. Don't miss out. Batmat, welcome home.
they have like 1.5 machines, let me say 2 machines working as at now. And if that be the case, then it's very, very inadequate. You'll be losing a lot of lives because for now, here they are even turning patients away.
Kidney Patients Association fear the worst as treatment of kidney patients across the country hit another major snag. Tonight, Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital, which serves as a referral hospital for more than 10 regions, says it only has one functional dialysis machine as it turns away patients.
One of the most difficult calls I have had to make as a chief executive was when I was approached by my medical director and who posed the question as to whether or not he was okay to send patients who needed dialysis to private facilities for dialysis. As difficult as our call was, it had to be made because we do not have sufficient dialysis machines.
Also tonight, National Health Insurance Scheme struggles with patients left stranded at the Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital.
Health insurance, almost 50 Monday, but 2,000.
We have details in the second part of the Joy News feature series. The NHIS cost barrier. Also here on Newsnight, the Center for Democratic Development raises concerns over the MPP and NDC campaigns, citing lack of focus on vital solutions for sustainable growth.
As you are trying to address them in an environment of governance challenges, you would not reap the full benefits of it. That is why I'm arguing that you also need to pay attention to the good governance issues.
And in business, oil marketing companies want appropriate sanctions taken against Century Refinery to help maintain industry integrity.
And in sports, government finally settles outstanding bonuses of Black Queens a day after threats of boycott of the Olympic qualifier against Zambia on Friday.
You want to join us with your views and comments here on Newsnight 055 1111997. I'm waiting to share it with the rest of the world. Well, tonight, the Kidney Patients Association is fearing the worst as treatment of kidney patients across the country hit another snag. The Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital, a key referral center for more than 10 regions, revealed today a distressing truth. It currently operates only one functional dialysis machine. Now, presently, the hospital is redirecting individuals in need of dialysis to private facilities. They're turning them away. As it says, its capacity, it's simply not there to meet their needs. Now, Professor Dr. Evans Mensah, the Chief Executive Officer of the hospital, described the decision to limit dialysis services to in-house patients as one of the most challenging. The issue was discussed during a meeting with the Finance Minister, who visited the hospital to inspect the ongoing construction of the mother and baby unit. Nana Yaujima has more in the following report.
Dialysis is a procedure to remove waste products and excess fluid from the blood when the kidney stops working properly. The failure of kidney patients to get the service when necessary may lead to death. The Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital is a referral hospital for 12 of the 16 regions in the country. Its nephrology unit is challenged with the necessary tools for the procedure despite the relevance. Professor Evans Mensah explains some critical decisions the hospital has taken.
The truth is that we at Comfort Anoche presently have, I usually say 1.5 dialysis machines. And it's because one is working at full capacity, the other is working at fault. And so what it means is that we are no longer able to receive patients from outside for dialysis. So the dialysis in this hospital is restricted to patients who are within the hospital. One of the most difficult calls I have had to make as a chief executive was when I was approached by my medical director and who posed the question as to whether or not he was okay to send patients who needed dialysis to private facilities for dialysis. As difficult as our call was, it had to be made because we do not have sufficient dialysis machines. And Mr. Minister, the truth is that for each dialysis session, it takes 4 hours. And so what it means is that if you have 2 dialysis machines in-house and you have, say, 5 patients who need dialysis, what it means is that if God does not intervene, then by the time he gets to the 10th or the 5th person, he probably would have popped off.
Meanwhile, the challenge with spacing continues to affect the hospital's operations. Professor Dr. Evans Mensah explained though the hospital is constrained, they are forced to congest their facilities.
Indeed, if Confanoche decides to close off the emergency center for 24 hours because it is full, and as we speak, the place is meant, orange ward is meant for 12. We presently have about 42 patients. Yellow is meant for 18. We have about 27 patients. Red is meant for 7. We have about 10 patients there as we speak now. And so if we decided that we're no longer receiving emergencies, obviously because the place is full, what it means is that we are practically asking patients who come in who are turned away to go and die.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
Well, the Finance Minister, Mohammed Amin Adam, had this response when he was confronted with the reality.
Can I show you, because of the concern by our president, the directive for us to find money and address these outstanding infrastructure issues. You have seen us moving very quickly, and this visit by me demonstrates that commitment to addressing these challenges so we can bring relief to the people of Kumasi, Ashanti region. And I know that a lot of cases are referred to Confanoche from other regions of the country.
Well, this is coming 5 months after Kolebu Teaching Hospital was forced to shut down its renal unit. Under similar circumstances, at least 14 people died during that period. At the peak of the dialysis crisis in October last year, Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Anthony Nsiasari, promised government was going to solve the issue. He also said government was working on the policy to make kidney transplant feasible.
There's a document which is being reviewed so that we have a law. It's very, very important. It has to go through cabinet for cabinet approval and then move to parliament for parliamentary approval, and the president will assent to it. So that we can harvest the organ, we can store the organ, and also donate the organ. It's not only for kidney, because even for the in vitro fertilization that they are doing, it's a tissue. Skin from other person to another person, it's a tissue.
The National Health Insurance Authority at the time also said they were considering migrating kidney patients onto the National Health Insurance Scheme. Evans Mensah is the Director of Corporate Affairs at the NHIA.
Based on your documentary, even at the NHIA level, the board is discussing, there's a committee that has been set up to have these conversations about dialysis, its implications, if NHIA can do anything about it.
Well, let's speak to the president of the Renal Patients Association of Ghana, Bafo Kojo Ahinkra, who joins us right now. Bafo, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. We spoke to you in the afternoon. Has anything changed? Have you received any further assurances today? I know you were making efforts to try and get authorities' attention to what is happening at the Confanoche Teaching Hospital and really across the country. Any good news?
Currently, nothing has come up yet. We are still trying to get to the authorities to how quickly they can solve the Confanoche issue. The point is, I'm also a patient, so I really understand what my other colleagues are going through. It's not easy. I mean, the challenge we have is about we don't have enough machines in the centers. Even in Kolebu, we have about 15 machines. I can speak on authority. It's about 11 working. And the number that comes in, even the outpatient alone, the inpatient alone. And so I understand Confanoche what they are going through. I mean, 2 machines. Like you said, one working fully to capacity.
They describe it as 1.5.
1.5, yes. Yes, like one fully capacity is working at 40. So you can just imagine what is going on. This matter is very serious. We beg the government, at least they should find some money and get some machines there. People's lives are in danger. People, like you said, it's 4 hours. So a day, they can only do just 3 cases. And maybe if, like you said, there are maybe about 10 of them who need dialysis, and they have only one machine, 1.5 machine working, and one person goes on it for 4 hours. Maybe he goes on it maybe in the morning 6, 8, 9, 10. Another person goes. So by the evening, I mean, even sometimes the machine is even exhausted. So what can we do? We beg government. We beg government. We are trying everything to meet the new Minister of Health, Okoboy. He is a medical practitioner, so probably he might really maybe understand the situation a bit more better. We are working out, maybe probably by next week, we want to meet him, sit him down, and have an emergency meeting, and let's see the way forward. They have to do something about it. But as I speak to you now, we don't have any confirmation coming from Confanoche. I think it's still the 1.5 machine that they are using.
Let's bring in the ranking member on the Parliament's Health Committee. Minta Akando joins us right now. Mr. Akando, surprised to learn that Komfanoche Teaching Hospital has only one fully functional dialysis machine?
Evans, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah, good evening to you and your listeners. Even sometimes I ask myself, what else should I say? You remember when we were having these conversations and you were so interested about the opening of Kolebu and the cost. I was bringing in the assets. You were not interested. I remember clearly. And you told me, oh, let's end it here. And I knew we'll go and come back to this point. I knew it, that we'll go and come back to this point. Assets. You know, even if you review the prices and you talk about the cost and the cost is even affordable and there are no machines to take care of the people, what have you done? Cost 90. Absolutely nothing. We are talking about Kolebu and Komfanoche now. Have we asked ourselves how many machines or dialysis machines we have in the various districts and in the other regional capitals? And I knew we'll get there at some point in time. I know we are going to get there. Even I do not understand why government cannot purchase dialysis machines for hospitals. I don't understand. I don't get it. And we are interested in Agenda 111, wasting a lot of money. And if you listen to the kind of things we are using our resources for, you ask yourself, do we have our priorities right? Do we simply have our priorities right? And then when you are even lucky and you get officials to come and speak to the issues, they either lie to you or they give you hopeless hope. Hopeless hope. You recall that a minister, when briefing the Parliament of Ghana on the floor of the House, indicated that the president has instructed him to look at means of including the dialysis in the National Health Insurance Scheme. Have you forgotten? How many months ago? What have they done? So even if you are lucky and they are responding with deception. They are not ready to do anything about it. And it hurts because some of us, they call us almost every day on health matters. And when it gets to a point where you are helpless, it's so painful. People are calling me from Kumasi all over the country. So painful, helpless, because all I can do is just to draw the government's attention to some of these peculiar circumstances. Well, I am not a spending officer. I don't have the money. I don't have the budget.
Well, in this case of Komfanoche, the finance minister himself went to pay them a visit, and he saw the extent of the problem and made assurances that he was there on behalf of the president and they were going to solve it.
How many times having they said that they were going to solve similar issues? Was it the same thing? Is a health minister not a minister? You know, the cabinet minister, just like the finance minister. When the Kolebu issues came up, what didn't he say?
But you have a new man. You have a new man in the job, the man with the check, who says it will be done.
And that is where we get it wrong. Not until we begin to build our system and we think that personalities and positions could change things, we'll keep deceiving ourselves. It's okay bringing money from his family to come and then take care of these things.
In fact, I'm actually referring to the finance minister.
But is the new finance minister bringing money from his hometown to come and take care of the finances of the country? It is a system. And it must be the system and not the individual in the position. So if indeed we have the right systems and we have the right government, we must get to a point where we say, look, we have ring-fenced this money, and not until we have a sustainable and reliable money for financing dialysis, this is what we are doing, and this money is what we are using to do all these things. This is a number of dialysis machines we have imported, and this is how we are distributing the machines across the length and breadth of this country. That is what we say we are running a country.
Mr. Akando, thank you very much. He is a ranking member on the Health Committee in Parliament. I still have with me the president of the Renal Patients Association of Ghana, Bafo Kojo Ahinkra. Mr. Ahinkra, very quickly, last year it was the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and many assurances were made. What's the situation there now?
Currently, we are still doing the 380
I think 2 weeks ago, we had the Kolebu CEO coming out saying that we've since the reopen, we've incur another 2 million Ghana cedis that is there, and he's begging Parliament to review the price that we are paying. Like, once again, if Kolebu also does not take care, we might also run out of machines, because currently we have about 11 machines working, both inpatient and outpatient. So it's like it's run at a shift. I mean, 4 hours. Sometimes the unit does not even close. It works 24 hours. There are machines. It can break down. So per what Mr. Akando is saying, there should be some system in place whereby we can get enough machines. Kolebu need about, if I'm not lying, about 50 or 100 machines, because it's a referral center. Kolebu need more machines. So currently, we are paying the 380, but we learned there's another cost that have been incurred, about 2 million, which is there. If you don't take care, and then something is not done about it, it might go up again. So all that I can say, so far, so good. We are just managing the situation in Kolebu.
Okay. Mr. Hengra, thank you very much. Now, in the second part of the Joy News feature on the National Health Insurance Scheme's dire challenges, we delve into the heart of the matter at the Confanoche Teaching Hospital, where the underfunded scheme has left countless patients stranded at the hospital premises. Now, despite being a beacon of hope for many, the NHIS has faltered, forcing subscribers to pay for medicines that should have been covered under the scheme. My colleague Clinton Yeboah uncovers the painful truth in today's episode.
Outside of the imposing gate of the Accident and Emergency Unit of the Confanoche Teaching Hospital and the waiting room of the KNUST Hospital, a restless crowd gather with their faces imprinted with worry and desperation. These are not just visitors earnestly waiting for good news concerning their sick relatives, but patients and family members perturbed with medical bills they cannot foot. Gifty Boache almost shed a tear talking about her sick mother. She has spent days at the hospital, banking hopes on the National Health Insurance Scheme, which she describes as stale.
The scheme has become stale. Now, if you do not have money, you won't receive quality health care. Why? We have to pay for almost all the services received.
There have been several complaints about the quality of NHIS service provided by some health facilities across the Ashanti region. Some individuals are reporting long delays in receiving treatment due to not having a health insurance card. They disclose instances of lack of essential medication due to inadequate coverage of expenses. These required subscribers to purchase medicines that they expected should be covered under the scheme.
Look at the number of drugs they have prescribed for me. Why would we be buying all sorts of drugs if it's working?
According to the 2023 medicine list of the National Health Insurance, appraised by a specialist group, the currently reviewed medicines list contains a total of 548 formulations. Childhood immunizations, tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, and mental health care are exempted from the scheme. The document disclosed that executive management of the NHIA has directed and approved a 20% increase in the prices of medicines as a stopgap measure to mitigate the recent increases in prices of medicines on the open market. For these aggrieved individuals, the struggling National Health Insurance Scheme is not just a health administrative obstacle, but a point of evidence of poor health systems and the inflicting reality of the poor. This is Samuel Tay Wayu.
The ones that are given free are not expensive, but the expensive ones I have to buy. This is my card, and I don't see any need.
The see me by near cover crown, so movie and say anyway, or much or trade drama may be semi cotton. I in Yakakitwa over 33,000. We never could have insurance to be uncovered.
A health official who pleaded anonymity explains the hospitals are compelled to top up prices of drugs and medical consumables due to price disparities in the open market price and the bench price covered by the NHIS. The situation seemingly grants profit-seeking hospitals a chance to charge patients more than required as top-ups.
Insurance has its own pricing for each drug. If that is not the price that the hospital gets on the market, that means the patient has to pay for the extra amount. Because insurance price is usually so low that you go to the market for the equipment that you need for the procedure, and it will be way above the price the insurance is going to pay. So you have to add the difference for the patient to pay. And some hospitals actually add extra for profits.
He further disclosed underfunding of several hospitals and bureaucratic hurdles of NHIS medicine administering guidelines are engulfing several facilities.
You when they list the drugs, it means you have to stick to what they've said. Insurance, sometimes they will reject it entirely and flag it as wrong, so they won't pay because they have specific treatment guides that you have to follow. If you go out of that, they have so many rules, so the hospitals would have to find ways and means to make up for all of that. Insurance is a stickler for rules.
Efforts to reach the Ashanti Regional Health Insurance Office have proven unsuccessful. But health officials are proposing an increase in premium drugs covered by the NHIS.
I believe funds to facilities should be released on time for them to be able to get the needed consumables for work. I also think that premium should be increased for especially those who can afford, those in the formal sector whose deductions are made straight from their SNP contributions.
Universal health coverage in Ghana says that all persons should and must receive timely access to health care. It is then apparent that a national entity such as the National Health Insurance accrues some attention to the struggling portions in order to improve service and ensure that we achieve the universal health coverage targets. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yabwa.
What's your own experience with the National Health Insurance Scheme? Let us hear from you. 055-1111-997. You are live here on Newsnight. My name is Evans Mensah. Now, the Center for Democratic Development, the CDD, they've raised concerns tonight over the economic ideas and programs proposed by the two major political parties, the NDC and the MPP, going into the 2024 general elections. Now, a recent analysis by the CDD suggests these ideas may struggle to produce desired outcomes, especially in the face of current governance challenges. According to Dr. John Masai Kwapon of the CDD, the ongoing campaigns have also failed to adequately address democratic regression to represent the sentiments of the electorate. He highlighted the need for substantive ideas to lead the country towards a more solid path of economic growth.
Point I'm trying to make is that the economic issues are very important, right? I mean, Ghanaians would agree that we faced some major economic pinch points over the last several years. And so it's good that the political parties, but mainly our two main candidates, are proposing ideas on how to fix the economy. But in an environment where there are also governance challenges, where citizens are having increasing mistrust in institutions or increasing perceptions of corruption or feeling like their leaders don't really listen to much of what they have to say, then those economic issues and challenges, as you are trying to address them in an environment of governance challenges, you would not reap the full benefits of it. That is why I'm arguing that you also need to pay attention to the good governance issues. If they get elected and they want to reap the full benefits of their economic programs, then they also have to make sure that they are addressing some of these key governance issues, right? So if you want to implement a policy, for example, but you have weak institutions, you won't get the full benefits of that key economic program in an environment of weak institutions.
What should be their focus now?
I think their focus has to be both, right? So talk about the economic issues, but also talk about the governance issues as well. The weak institutions, the mistrust in institutions, the perceptions that we don't really trust our institutions that much, the fact that we don't feel like the key the key policy priorities that we have are not being addressed satisfactorily. Those are the things that I think they have to incorporate as part of the economic arguments that they are also making.
My colleague Samuel Mbura sat through today's briefing and he joins us on the telephone line right now. Samuel, so the parties that were represented there, what have been the reaction to this?
Well, Evans, the reactions from the political representatives, notably the NDC, the Movement for Change, CPP, and then other minority political parties, were that they have gone across the country and then they have collated the sentiments of the people, and that is what is informing their manifesto. So they are largely optimistic that the manifesto they are presenting for this 2024 general election is something that is reflective on the grounds.
It's not about promising. It's about doing the work. And Excellency John Mahama, he is saying that when he comes, the 24-hour economy policy will work. And this is industry-driven. And we're going to make sure that we create all the favorable conditions to make sure that this policy works down. And people are accepting our campaign message.
PNC is the alternative because Ghanaians have seen that they took our policies, they implemented them, and Ghanaians are benefiting as a result of that. So immediately we pick our flag bearer, we are sure that the people of Ghana will hear about our policies, and these are going to be tangible policies that this implementation is going to be clear for the ordinary Ghanaian to see.
Mr. Chemati has a clear program to build on growth and lead us away permanently from the IMF. The other two don't have that. So if you're a Ghanaian voter, remember to interrogate what Mr. Chemati has for you as a leader. He's the transformation agent. He's the man of jobs. He has been creating jobs since ever. So he will deliver you a jobs and cash economy that will give you hope and give you a direction beyond the IMF.
I think GCPP has been very concerned about the kind of democracy that we practice, and that is why we talk about the issue of domestication, looking at how can we look at a more sustainable approach to development in relation to creating a national agenda against political party manifestos.
A few of the political parties represented at this particular event. Speaking to my colleague Samuel Mbura, and the two main parties, though, Samuel, were they represented, the NDC and the NPP?
Well, we had a representative from the NDC, but the NPP, I don't know why they didn't send any representative, but I'm told invitations were extended to all of them.
Thank you, Samuel. Let's stay with issues surrounding the elections. And you know what they say, elections are won at the polling station. Well, the Electoral Commission is tonight asking the political parties to ensure that they deploy agents who are effective and efficient. They know what they are actually doing. The Ashanti Regional Director of the EC, Benjamin Banobio, says the Commission is now putting in place measures to ensure a transparent electoral process that reflects the desires of the people, but the agents must play a role in that. Speaking at the launch of an electoral dashboard created by experts from the KNUST, he noted the EC's efforts must be complemented by political parties. Nana Boache Yadom has more.
The electoral dashboard created by experts from the KNUST's Faculty of Social Science is a comprehensive and intuitive platform designed to provide real-time insights into electoral data, ensuring transparency and informed decision-making during elections. Ashanti Regional Boss of the Electoral Commission, Benjamin Banobio, appreciated the efforts of the university.
It is going to make our work more transparent, and it's also going to show the level of integrity in our system.
Mr. Banobio called on political parties to contribute to the effort in ensuring a transparent election by deploying effective and efficient agents to various polling stations during the elections.
Trust the Electoral Commission and the system. Get actively involved. Engage effective party agents, not just anyone who can talk, effective party agent who knows what he's doing, so that you'll be able to differentiate between 66 and 99, so that we'll be able to stand up for the interests of his party or his candidate. So that in the end, whoever lost will know that, yes, I did my best, but I lost genuinely.
Research lead on the project, Gift Dumada, says the electoral dashboard will contribute to Ghana's long-standing democratic status.
It's a service that we really wanted to offer to the Ghanaian public.
we felt that by giving information to the Ghanaian public will stimulate participation. And if for our country we have a lot of participation in our electoral process, that will provide transparency and also enhance the legitimacy of our election that we carry out in general.
For Joe News, Nana Boache Dankwe Kumasi.
And my name is Evans Mensah. Joining me right now is George Uafe with Business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. Then coming up in business, oil marketing companies want appropriate sanctions taken against Central Refinery to help maintain industry integrity. And insurers insist paying genuine claims to policyholders despite rising fraud cases. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntex Tanks and Pepsodent, Charcoal and Herbal.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shani Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom. And my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302-764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website, www.kingdomgh.com.
Water is needed all day, all night. So, remember Syntex Tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntex Tank. A strong, a tough. Water is needed all day, all night. So, remember Syntex Tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntex Tank. A strong, a tough.
Hello, Auntie Araba. Hey, Bugger, how are you doing today? I want to buy Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, but I don't have enough money. So what are you going to do? Can you give me the big size? You know, as for me, I'll pay the balance later.
Today, no credit. I haven't sold much this morning. If you don't have enough money for the big size, why don't you try the 120-gram pack?
There's a 120-gram pack? Introducing the new Pepsodent Cavity Fighter in 120-gram pack size. More affordable and convenient. Get yours today from any supermarket near you. Every smile matters. This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, oil marketing companies want appropriate sanctions taken against Central Oil Refinery if it's established that it sold products below industry specification. Now, this was captured in a letter to the Chief Executive of the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid. Now, there's more in this report.
The Association of Oil Marketing Companies in the letter maintained this as needed to help restore confidence in the industry. According to the association, it has come to this conclusion after provisional investigations showed the challenge with the products in their fold is not from them, but rather products supplied by Central Oil. The Association of Oil Marketing Companies also wants the National Petroleum Authority to develop strategies that will help mitigate the reported challenges with these products on the market. It also wants the National Petroleum Authority to publicly publish findings of the investigations that they will undertake into the operations of Central Oil. The association maintains it is critical that these measures are undertaken to help restore confidence in the industry and overall integration of the sector. The concerns by the oil marketing companies is coming at a time that two energy tanks have accused the National Petroleum Authority of allowing Central Oil Refinery to sell products that are said to be lower than the industry specification on the market. But the National Petroleum Authority is contesting this, saying it has already taken measures to deal with this challenge.
And that is a business desk report. Now, meanwhile, the National Petroleum Authority says it is still early days yet to suspend the license of Central Oil Refinery. Abdullah Saeed is the head of quality control at the National Petroleum Authority.
On Monday, we had a meeting with Central, and we have enumerated some of the things that are measures that we have put in place to ensure this doesn't happen again. It's an issue that management have not completed with. We are still looking at which OMCs are affected and what extent. And all these things feed into the decisions that management will take at the end of the day. So we have not completed the total issue at stake. Yes, we have stopped the sale of it, yet some people are still having some consignment. And until we put the whole picture into play, management will not be in the position to conclude and take a final decision.
Abdullah Saeed is head of quality control at the National Petroleum Authority. In a related development, some oil marketing companies say they have halted the purchases of products from Central. Michael Bizenbol is chief executive of Petrosol.
I believe that nothing should be done to compromise the quality of the products for the consumer. And we have to work together. We need a refinery, but also the consumer also requires quality products. I mean, some of us have decided that for that spec of petrol, we are not buying it because we do not want our consumers to suffer the consequences of bad products.
Michael Bizenbol is chief executive of oil marketing company Petrosol. Now, IMF has revealed that Ghana has made some significant progress with external creditors on restructuring of their debts. Now, the country is currently racing against time to close the deal with the bilateral and commercial creditors by the end of next month. However, there are concerns that there could be some delays. But speaking at a news conference in Washington, D.C., USA, Director of Communications at the IMF, Julia Kozak, noted that there has been some significant progress made. He however said the government must focus on key reforms to aid in the recovery of the economy.
Steadfast policy and reform implementation will be needed to fully and durably restore macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability in Ghana. It will be critical for the government to continue implementing the program as envisaged to ensure sustainable growth and poverty reduction. With respect to some of the questions regarding other developments, I just want to emphasize that the IMF remains fully engaged and supportive of Ghana's efforts under the ongoing program and the debt restructuring negotiations. We have been in continuous dialogue with the Ghanaian authorities, including with the Minister Designate when he served as Minister of State for Finance. And our commitment to assisting Ghana remains steadfast, and we look forward to continuing our fruitful cooperation with the new minister.
And that is the Director of Communications at the IMF, Julia Kozak, speaking from Washington, D.C., USA, at a media briefing earlier today. Now, President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Yimdaka, is urging the political parties to consider solar energy as a reliable source of power to drive the country's industrialization agenda. In an interview with Joy Business, Dr. Daka disclosed that ahead of the 2024 elections, the business community will consider any person willing to take bold initiatives for the sector. He spoke on the sidelines of the very dead DMT partnership event in Accra today.
Cost of power, which is another related matter that we seek to find out how the next leader seeks to reduce the cost of power. It is so significant comparing us to the West African market. Cost of power is pretty expensive, and therefore as they come to us, we interrogate that beyond solar, how about nuclear? I think there's an offer of a nuclear facility that can aid us drop the price. Even though the initial cost might be expensive, we need to take some bold decisions to correct the market failures in this space.
Dr. Humphrey Yimdaka is the president of the Association of Ghana Industries. Now, insurers are insisting that they are prompt in payment of claims despite the rise in fraud cases in the country. He follows complaints that most of the insurance companies have been slow in the payment of claims. And the Ghana Insurance Association in 2022 paid more than 7 million Ghana cedis as claims to policyholders. Now, Kingsley Kwesi is chief executive of the Ghana Insurers Association.
The basic principle in law is that fraud vitiates every contract. And as we speak now, I have checked on my desk. A claimant says that he has a legitimate claim and that the company was frustrating the company and the claimant. Yeah. As we speak now, we have spoken to the company. The check is on my desk. The claimant is not ready to pick the check. Why? The question is why? Because we investigated and we realized that it was a fraudulent claim. And we are suffering quietly, maybe because we have not broadcasted, we have been very conservative about the issue of fraud.
Kingsley Kwesi is the chief executive of the Ghana Insurers Association. To the stock market, if you hold shares in that of EcoBank International Incorporated, it was down by a peso and is now worth 15 pesos. That of Danex Iton Starwin PLC went up by 2 pesos to close at 38 pesos. And that's all for business on Newsnight and Events. Tonight on PM Express, we are engaging the chief executive of the Ghana Association of Banks. As you look at the sector is said to be recovering, but how is that impacting on credit extension? If you should walk into a bank right now, Evans, are you assured of getting some credit for your business, for your personal loans, to expand anything that you're doing? Because the data also suggests that credit is declining. So we get John Ewa, he's the chief executive of the Ghana Association of Banks, at 9 p.m. on PM Express and all our social media platforms. At 9 p.m. tonight, let's talk banking, let's talk recovery, let's talk about credit extension to businesses in Ghana today.
Now, you want to join George at 9 p.m. It's also across our social media platforms on the Joy News channel. A few of your messages on our WhatsApp console now. Dave in Chicago says, Evans, I traveled to the U.S. 3 months ago and picked up a job with the health facility in one small city. Even this small facility has up to 12 dialysis machines. Sometimes I go into the dialysis center just to count the machines, and there are a lot of such facilities here. What happened to Ghana, he's asking. This one from Nane Kwamwabwate in Ablikuma Central. I think Honorable Sir Chairman Sabonsu has been treated well. They could have handled it in a more diplomatic way rather than the needless coup. Alex Markings is a fantastic leader, he says. And another one says, Evans, every hospital I've been to in the Ashanti region here does not accept the NHIS card. Well, that's why we're focusing on the NHIS and with the series that we are running, the cost barrier, because it's a major issue that is underreported, and we want to shine a light on it. And he goes on to give us a further example of this. He says, my dad goes for his monthly checkups. My sister takes her kids to the hospital, myself as well. When you bring out your card, they don't say anything, accept or not. They'll bypass you and call those behind you. So you have no choice but to pay cash. The health insurance does not work anymore. And we'll be hearing from the National Health Insurance as part of our series. Definitely, it's a conversation that we must have. Kwesi in Kaswa says the NHIS is not functioning yet. They want to increase the premium. They should stop worrying us. Walanyo Nakwetia says change in Parliament on the side of majority is normal because it also happened on the side of the minority. There should have been no agitation, he says. And the final one says, Minta Kando, he's talking as if he has never been in government. What was the policy that his government put in place that has been changed by the current administration? And the final one says, Evans Akando is right. It's not the minister, it's a system. The new Minister of Health was the CEO of the NHIA, but the service still has serious challenges. You're still live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. And I want to return to our earlier story about the CDD's rebuke of the two main political parties. The CDD says a recent analysis suggests the ideas the parties have been putting out since the campaigns started, even ahead of the manifesto crafting, will struggle to produce desired outcomes, especially in the face of current governance challenges. It's simply not effective putting out stuff because they believe the people want to hear them. Let's bring in Dr. Peter Boamo Tukuno. He's a former Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, and he joins us on the line. He's with the policy team there too, with the NDC. Dr. Tukuno, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you for having me, Lance.
Do you accept this criticism from the CDD that political parties, we've had a lot of promises already and some thinking around policies. They say these will struggle to produce the desired outcomes?
Well, I think that such worry expressed by the CDD is rather misdirected because if there is any political party that has completely abandoned governance, principles of governance in its campaign and in its governance, is the MPP. And perhaps a little specification would have helped rather than this overgeneralization, because the NDC from 2017, since we have been in opposition, even before we went into opposition, had headlined all our campaign with good governance. And you would recall that in 2020, when we launched our Jobs and Prosperity for All People's Manifesto, as part of the thematic areas that encapsulated our agenda was governance, promoting human development, good governance, anti-corruption, and accountability. Bear in mind that as part of our key pillars of the National Democratic Congress is transparency, probity, and accountability. And so in all our dealings across our policy coverage, from economy to infrastructure to human development to creating decent and sustainable jobs, have been underpinned by the principles of good governance and accountability. And it is replete in the campaign messages of President Mahama from the day he decided to contest for the 2024 elections during our primaries until now, that in every single campaign that he has mounted, he has focused on good governance beyond the issues of the economy. We know the prevailing issues that affect you and I is the bread and butter issues. And those are the issues the ordinary Ghanaians are worried about.
And I'm curious, as you work towards your manifesto, how do you aggregate these views? Is it just the committee thinking what they should put forth, or it is generated by real views from the ground?
Well, if you had followed policy formulation processes in the NDC, you would know that we believe in the bottom-up approach to policy formulation. And from 2016, you would realize that all our people manifestos have been generated from the ground by the people Again, last Monday, our manifesto committee was launched, a committee that I have served on from 2015. And just as we have always done, we have engaged the technical people and the ordinary people to seek their opinion about their expectations of what government should do for them. And that is what has characterized our activities as a political party in policy formulation. Indeed, this afternoon, we just closed a policy dialogue being held at Peduase Lodge, a 2-day policy dialogue. We are ending tomorrow, and the policy dialogue has brought technical people together, and we are reviewing the work that we have done in the past and trying to lay the foundation, a framework for our manifesto for 2024.
Okay, and what are the timelines? When do you hope to outdoor your manifesto?
Well, we would, as much as possible, release a schedule which would be on time with the elections calendar. So when we are ready, we would announce the specific date. We have not decided on the specific date, but we are very optimistic that we will be able to release it on time so that we can have a thorough conversation on it before the elections.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. And that's Dr. Peter Boamo Tokuno with the NDC's Manifesto Committee. It's still live on News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Have you noticed there's a heat wave sweeping across this country? Well, if you haven't, the Ghana Met Office is confirming that indeed there is a heat wave and it can have serious health consequences for you. I want to bring in right now the chief weather forecaster at the Ghana Met Agency, Felicity Hiafenyo, joins us right now on the telephone line. What is accounting for this heat wave? And you're talking about a heat wave in a country that all we know is the sun. What's different about what we're experiencing now from what we are used to?
Thanks so much and good evening to everybody. When it comes to West Africa, we don't really talk about heat wave. Rather, we talk of extreme temperatures in terms of hot temperature season. Yes, for now, we have the sun, which is in the southern hemisphere. We expect it to start its northward migration. Then we have clear atmosphere whereby we don't have any obstruction, no dust that will be absorbing or scattering the short wave solar radiation. So we have it getting to us, hitting the earth surface, and then giving us higher temperatures across the country.
So what you're saying is that the temperatures we're witnessing now is higher than normal?
Some areas are slightly higher than the normal trend, but in general, it's almost the same thing that we've been experiencing over the years.
Okay, so there's nothing to worry about. You can still walk about normally as we always do.
No, we need to worry about because between now and April, we'll be having high temperatures during the daytime and then warm temperatures during the nighttime. And it's going to be a bit uncomfortable. So this is where we need to take certain measures so that we can prevent other heat-related diseases from affecting us. That is, we should try as much as possible to avoid the hottest part of the day. That is between 11 and 3 p.m. If we can limit our outdoor activities around that time, it will be very good. But then if our activities are outdoor type, then we need to get some protective gears, something like the sunshade glasses, the sunshade creams, the hats that we can use, and then also we need to use cotton-based or light-weighted clothing that we can also use to help ourselves and keep hydrated all the time by drinking water.
Okay, and the period that we need to avoid, you say, is 11 to 3 p.m.?
Yes, between 11 and 3 p.m. That is the time that we expect the temperature to be at its maximum.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chief Weather Forecaster at the Ghana Met Office, Felicity Hiafenyo. Guess who is joining me right now? He hasn't heard the advice just yet. He's in his long sleeves. He's in a tie. He's wearing his blazer. I bet he had a suit on too. Even when the Met Office is telling us that we're experiencing, high temperatures across the country, especially in parts of the Greater Accra region and others, and you are fully clothed, enjoying the weather.
Yes, I enjoy the weather.
But you heard the advice, right?
Yeah, I mean, this evening is drizzled a bit. You know, the weather is a little cold.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was coming to work in the afternoon, was quite warm.
The
and
advice
I had
is
to fold my sleeves.
You know, the tie has to come off. You know, just wear clothes that allow you to feel the breeze a bit.
Yeah, I think when I'm done with TV, I'll just return to that. So this is just for TV. But let me bring you an update from the Black Queens. Yesterday, you know, we had a conversation brought you some update on the status of the Black Queens unpaid bonuses. Well, yesterday evening, some delegation from the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the Ghana Football Association visited the team at their camping base, the La Palm Hotel over there, and interacted with the team, promising that they will pay them before end of day today. Well, the Ministry of Youth and Sports has indeed paid all the outstanding bonuses owed the Black Queens ahead of the crucial Paris 2024 Olympic Games qualifier against Zambia. Remember that the Queens were owed qualification bonuses from 2 rounds of qualifying in the Paris 2024 Olympic qualifiers and the African Women's Cup of Nations qualifier. Each player was owed a total of $7,500 from the 6 qualifying matches. And in fact, the team was planning to boycott the game on Friday if the bonuses were not paid. Well, the ministry did move swiftly, and we understand that checks have been issued for 85,000 Ghana cedis each, which is the equivalent of $7,500 at the Bank of Ghana rate. So the Queens have their money, and today at the Accra Sports Stadium, they held their final training session where the head coach, Nora Hoptel, has been speaking ahead of the game tomorrow.
Well, we face the 3rd round in Olympics and we have a home game. Zambia, of course, is a big opponent. They have been on the World Cup. They played 21 games last year. They have good individual players, so I think they must win. And we want to win. And we want to face the top individual players, of course, with a top team. This is our credo for tomorrow. And we are working properly this week and excited that we can start tomorrow.
Yep, that's Nora Hoptel there. So Evans, the games at the Accra Sports Stadium tomorrow, 4 p.m. It's free gate. Go there, support the Queens. And if they're able to defeat Zambia, they play a final round of qualification between either Tunisia or Morocco. And then they will be at the Olympics for the very first time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bao. Now, it appears some women see nothing wrong when they are beaten or hit by their partners. Details of a 2022 survey by the Ghana Statistical Service revealed that at least 19% of women between the ages of 15 and 49 agree that their husband or intimate partner is justified to hit them. The report also captures when partners had their first sex. There's more in this News Desk report.
You say you want passion.
The 2022 Ghana Demographic Report shared views on women empowerment, domestic violence, young people's experience of first sex encounter, marriage and sexuality. Senior lecturer at the University of Education, Winnipeg, Dr. Akosua Osu Ansa, first shared details of the sexual experiences of the respondents.
The data showed that 4 in 5 respondents had their first sexual experience in an established or intimate relationship. So it didn't matter whether they were married or not. However, 1 in 5 respondents had their first sex with someone they were not in a relationship with at that time. The data also shows that all respondents in the Ashanti region and all men in the northern region had sex when they were not married.
According to the principal statistician at the Ghana Statistical Service, Gloria Akutu-Bamfo, 13% of the women justified the reason their partners or husbands beat or hit them on issues such as neglecting their children.
We see that both men and women have a common view that a husband is justified in hitting his wife or partner if she neglects the children. And you can see that the women are even more in favor of that. Looking at the percentages, maybe there's some reasons to it which we can later on think about.
Gloria Akutu-Bamfo called for the strengthening of institutions to support persons experiencing violence as part of the recommendations.
There is the need to strengthen institutions to support persons experiencing violence, especially women who are not reporting incidences of violence they go through. And again, there's the need for us to revisit our national gender policy for an engagement with the measurement of progress.
Get ready for action. Don't be astounded.
Night tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening.